What is up, guys? Rickackis here, and this is the gold review of the BRM light machine gun in Call of Duty Black Ops 3. Now in this video we will be going over a general weapon overview. Next we're going to go over to the damage profile, aka the killing potential of this weapon. We're then going to move on to the best attachments for this weapon. Next we're going to go on to gold camo tips, which is advice that I can give you to help you get gold camo on your BRM. And lastly we're going to go over my closing thoughts with this weapon and why I think it is the worst light machine gun in Black Ops 3. Now I know that's a little bit of a controversial opinion, but I feel that I owe it to you guys to give you my honest opinion and not sugarcoat it to make the most people happy. So if you're going to disagree with me and freak out at me in the comment section, at least watch that part of the video. Now let's get started with the weapon overview. Now the BRM is definitely what I would imagine if I was to think of a classic Call of Duty light machine gun. It shoots very slowly, each bullet does a lot of damage, and it has a massive 75 round magazine. Again, very stereotypical of a light machine gun within Call of Duty. You have a lot of killing potential within that one magazine. Now, one of the downsides of this is a downside that's present for every light machine gun in every Call of Duty essentially, and that is decreased mobility. You're going to move a little bit slower with this gun, you're going to aim down sights a little bit slower than compared with stuff like SMGs and assault rifles, so you do need to be aware of that. But again, you do a lot of damage per shot, and you have a lot of shots at your disposal before you have to reload, so not only is this gun very effective at taking down groups of infantry, but you can also take down score streaks and certain objectives, for example the robot on Safeguard. Now I spoke of damage, but exactly how much damage are we talking about? Well, let's move on to the damage profile of the BRM. Now first off, the BRM is going to be doing 40 maximum damage out to 127 meters. And yes, I'm serious, and then it's going to drop down to 30 minimum damage from that point forward. Now you're seeing right here the longest possible sightline on Nuketown, and it is still a 3-shot kill. So this weapon is essentially almost always going to be a 3-shot kill, except for the most extreme of ranges that frankly you shouldn't really be engaging enemies from anyways. Now of course that insane amount of damage output isn't without a downside, and the downside in this case is the rate of fire. The rate of fire of the BRM is only 517 rounds per minute. Now all of this results in a minimum time to kill of 0.232 seconds. Now, what exactly does that mean to you? Well, that is the second worst time to kill out of all of the light machine guns. The only time to kill longer than the BRM is the Dingo with 0.249 seconds. Now, note that the time to kill is still very similar, 0.232, 0.249. We're talking like hundredths of a second time to kill. However, the Dingo actually aims down sights the fastest at 0.333 seconds, whereas the BRM aims down sights at 0.35 seconds. Now I normally don't get into this whole ADS stuff because it usually isn't too relevant, but the reason I'm mentioning it here is because although it is slightly faster in the time to kill department for the BRM than the Dingo, the fact that you aim down sights faster with the Dingo practically offsets this difference. So you're basically tied for the worst time to kill out of all the light machine guns. Now all of this results in a relatively consistent damage output. I mean, you don't really have to worry about range. It's almost always a 3-shot kill from no matter which distance. However, it does really punish missing. If you miss one round with the BRM, your time to kill is going to plummet because the rate of fire is so low. So you do need to be aware of this. You need to be extremely accurate with the BRM, and even if you are, the time to kill isn't even that high, and it's beat out by every other light machine gun except for the Dingo, which again aims down sights faster. Alright, now let's move it on to the recommended attachments for the BRM. Now, I think my number one recommended attachment for the BRM would definitely just be Quick Draw. Quick Draw is going to allow you to aim down sights faster, and especially with a light machine gun that natively has a very slow aim down sights time, this is going to save your life a ton. You don't have the fastest time to kill, as I've already been over, so you need to be starting to shoot as quickly as possible, and taking more time to aim down sights is just going to be a death sentence if you don't have Quick Draw. Now, aside from that, the BRM is pretty consistent and doesn't require a lot of attachments to function well. You don't need any perks that mess around with reload because your magazine is so large you can go on like a 10 kill streak before you need to reload, and if you're okay with those starting sights, you really don't necessarily need an optic. Now, an optic of course is going to be personal preference, and you can use ones. I was even using them up to an ACOG sight, and it was still actually pretty effective with that sight. However, a BOA 3 sight would actually be what I would recommend in terms of optics, simply because it actually aims down sights a little bit further than with a normal red dot sight, which you sometimes kind of want with this weapon because it does have some definite long range potential, and in addition to that, it is going to highlight enemies as well. But again, what I ended up doing with the BRM was simply running Quick Draw, and then that's it. Just getting used to the iron sights and then being able to spend my points on other things for my class. Maybe a rocket launcher so I could be kind of the designated take out the kill streaks guy, maybe some more perks, maybe some more grenades, etc. Now, I will say that grip is definitely another attachment that a lot of people like to use on this weapon. It does have a pretty decent amount of recoil. However, I found grip to just not really make that much of a difference, so I prefer to just save the point and spend it on something else instead of running grip to get a pretty minimal benefit. Also, in case you don't know, don't run silencer because it's going to knock down your range by like 90%. So unless you want this gun to kill in one more shot, do not run silencer. Now let's move on to gold camo tips. What is some advice I have for those of you trying to get gold camo for the BRM? Well, one of the downsides of this weapon, as I've mentioned, is that it does have a decent amount of recoil. However, that's not really a massive downside when it comes to getting gold camo, because you can kind of just use this weapon normally. You don't have to act any different with the BRM. Just go around shooting guys in the chest as you've done in pretty much every other Call of Duty, and it's going to naturally recoil upwards and get you headshots. Now, of course, you can actually go for headshots, try to aim to the head, which of course, you probably will end up getting a little bit more headshots. You're also going to end up dying a little bit more because you're going to hit the head and then recoil outside of the head and miss completely. But it is something you can do. You can also take this gun into hardcore, where it, along with most other weapons, is going to be a one-shot kill. Put a long-range optic on it and basically use it as a sniper rifle, and again, go for those one-shot headshots. Now, although those are things you can definitely do, I wouldn't really recommend it. Most players are going to find that they're just naturally going to come across 100 headshots with this weapon in the course of simply using it as normal. Now, once you get to 100 headshots, there's some advice I have that I reiterate every time I do a gold camo review for the new viewers. Now, that advice is, firstly, make sure that if you're close to 100 headshots, to get that Policia camo so you can do the other challenges, let's say you're 97 or 98 out of 100, make sure to make a new class to get the next camo challenge in anticipation. Don't play an entire game of Safeguard and go, into 2 overtimes where you get the 100 headshot challenge in the first 2 minutes. Make sure that you have a class to switch to so you're not wasting your time. And speaking of class to switch to, make sure that the first challenges you do every single time when getting gold camo is the challenge where you use this weapon with no attachments and then you use it with 6 attachments. Doing those 2 challenges first, back to back, is going to just make it so that you have to complete those challenges anyways to get gold camo, but while you're doing those challenges, you can also complete the other challenges in the background. Getting long shots, getting 5-shot kills, that's all gonna come while you're just using this weapon with no attachments and with 6 attachments. Now I also want to mention that if you're having trouble getting long shots, apparently what you can do is just put on silencer and the Varix sight, and that's going to decrease the range of your weapon, obviously, especially silencer, and that's going to decrease the distance at which you need to be at to get actual long shots. So you don't need to shoot enemies from as far away to get those long shot badges, so definitely try doing that if you're having some trouble with long shots. Now, if you're having trouble getting rapid kills or going on 5 kill streaks with this weapon, my number one recommendation to you would be play Safeguard. Safeguard is fantastic for not only the BRM, but all light machine guns. There's going to be plenty of times when enemies clump up around the robot, and then you can very easily hold the trigger down. You have 75 rounds at your disposal, and you can easily get, double, triple, and even quad feeds with this weapon. In addition, playing Safeguard is going to allow you to more easily go on those 5 kill streaks because you're going to be able to leverage the advantage you have with distance while using the BRM. If you're playing something like a team deathmatch variant like Kill Confirmed or Team Deathmatch, the spawns flip so often that when you're trying to put distance between you and the enemy so that you don't just die to VMP users, which is 80% of the player base right now, the spawns are going to flip and they're going to kill you from behind. When you're playing an objective mode like Safeguard, the enemy is going to keep spawning pretty much in that same location, and you're really going to be able to leverage your distance between them. Now, I hope that helped, but it's time to move on to my closing thoughts. What did I actually think of this weapon? Well, like I've said at the beginning, I thought this was the worst light machine gun in Black Ops 3. I really did not have a great time using this gun. That being said, I understand actually if you like this weapon. Like, if you like this weapon and you're about to go ham on me because I'm the dumbest person alive, how could I not like this weapon? Like, I totally understand why people do like this weapon. Just the amount of killing potential in one magazine is insane. And there's times like when I was testing it in my multiple days of using it where I would get like a quad feed or a triple feed with this weapon and just be like, wow, this is a great weapon. But then you've got to think of all the times you lose gunfight after gunfight after gunfight with SMG users, with assault rifle users, and you just start to realize that although the weapon itself isn't that tremendously underpowered, there's just better options. The thing about the BRM is that its fire rate is so low that you're just going to lose out to like SMG and even assault rifle users at close to, medium, beginning medium range all the time. You're just going to lose to them constantly because of, again, that rate of fire. Now, what about long range? Well, the problem with using this gun at longer ranges is that although it's a little bit better at long range, you do have a decent amount of recoil, so every once in a while you're just going to randomly recoil off target and miss your target. In which case, again, missing one time is going to dramatically lower your time to kill. So it's not very good at close range, it's not very good at long range, and you just lose to like every other gun. At long range, you're losing to M8s, you're losing to Shivas, you're losing to heck, even Pharaohs. At close range, you're losing to VMPs, HVKs, Pharaohs again. Like, you're just losing to a lot of better options, frankly, when it comes to weapons to choose in Black Ops 3. And the thing is, if you're interested in an extremely high damaging light machine gun with a massive magazine size that can get triple quad feeds on infantry, that can take out kill streaks, that can take out objectives, just use the Gorgon. Now that's it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please remember to rate and share this video. It really helps me out. And if you want to see more Black Ops 3 content, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. Now if you want to get in touch with me, the best way is on Twitter. That's linked in the description down below, as is my Twitch channel, which you can follow as well. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.